everyone.
Hi everyone.
So glad to have you all here today. I'm Inara. I'm the online coordinator here at Bamboo U. And this is Mike. You probably remember Mike, our project architect from
Yeah,
a couple live sessions ago.
yeah,
So thank you for joining us here today, Mike. We're really excited to have you.
yeah. Thank you to Inara.
I kind of pulled Mike away. He was very busy with some other work that we'll mention a bit in this video. But yeah, thank you, Mike, for being
Yeah,
here. So I know there's already a couple people here today. So I want to know, where are you guys joining us from?
mhm,
Tell us in the chat so that we know it's working. Send
yeah,
us a heart if you're watching this. And yeah, let us know where you're joining us from so we can see where you are in the
yeah,
world. And when we do these sessions, we really do like using the chat because if you have questions, you can ask us. I mean,
mhm,
we have experts here like Mike. Mike is really great at model making, and so he will be able to give you a lot of insight
yeah,
on if you have any questions about model making or any questions that come up while we are talking, then he's a great resource.
yeah. I love question.
Yes, he really does. All right. So, oh, Michael is here from the Philippines. Hi, Michael.
Oh,
Oh, super
welcome.
cool.
Go Philippines. Yeah,
Not too far away.
yeah. Our
Great.
neighbor.
Yeah, super cool. All righty. So, as you might know, both Mike and I are architects. And before working at Bamboo specifically, we had worked in traditional architecture firms
Yeah.
before. And so, if you're an architect, let us know again in the chat. We'd like to see who's an architect. If you're not an architect, tell us what you do. It's always really cool because I think
Yeah.
in Bamboo we have people joining
Yeah,
us.
even like probably like mostly
So
like
many
only
different things.
25% like architect and
Yeah,
like
like
mostly it's yeah
yeah,
people with different background that coming. We have a
that's true.
pilot, we
Yeah.
have like designer,
Yeah.
like t-shirt, like everything. Yeah,
Yeah, we had like a florist, remember a couple of
yeah,
courses
yeah.
ago. We've had, like Mike said, pilots.
Hmm.
We had an anesthesiologist join us at one time.
Yeah,
So it's really
we have
great.
Hollywood actor.
Yeah, yeah. That's true.
Yeah, so like you don't need to be an architect to, if you
Yeah.
want to learn about the bamboo construction.
Yeah. Like we're happy to, work with anyone that enjoys working with bamboo or wants to
Mhm.
learn more about bamboo. You're in the right place.
Yeah.
So, Mike is going to take us through kind of how the overall design process works first before we dive into actually like models and how they are a part of the design. So, what is the first stage in the design process?
So we always like do like some schematic design.
Mhm.
So usually, if probably like if you already like have a client or like you doing your own project, usually like you already have function, right? Okay,
Mhm.
I want to build, let for example, let's say house,
Mhm.
and that you already have the size,
Yeah.
and like from there probably like you wanna, okay, I want to make probably like following some traditional house or like, because like usually even like when I working in Ibuku,
Mhm.
they like see like some plants or like animal or insect in on site, and
Yeah.
they will like, okay, we love like this kind of shape, and that from that, yeah, you get like this kind of feeling like, okay, probably like this gonna good because we already like have this kind of sample here on
Yeah.
site.
It's
Yeah,
like
okay,
inspiration, right? For the
inspiration.
form of the
Yeah,
building.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that from there you do your concept model, like trying to like figure out the shape of the one first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's different from a typical architecture firm, right?
Mhm.
Where you would kind of start with sketches first.
Mhm.
And like Mike mentioned, we do start with some actual like models as well. It's not
Yeah,
just sketches, right, that we
exactly.
do first.
Yeah.
We do some sketches, but we also try playing with models and
So yeah,
testing.
it's good to if you like have a model first, because probably like sometimes like you have like this kind of probably like by sketching you get this good curve,
Yeah.
because like when we do like bamboo model, like we using the same material like the bamboo stick, like the bamboo will give you like they want to behave like what,
True.
so
Yeah.
probably like, and like limit your curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, by yeah, so by doing like the concept model first, it will like give you real like good information about like how to making it. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. And I guess another thing that's a key part of the conceptual phase for us as well is evoking particular effects or emotions. We
Mhm.
always like to think, how do we want people to feel when they are in a building made by
Exactly.
us, right?
Yeah.
And do we want them to feel, for example, empowered? Do we want them to feel cozy? Like, are we making a small little nook for them to be in and like
Yeah.
get all cozy in? Or is it a big open space where they can really appreciate like the amazing bamboo that's around them,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, right? So that's one thing.
Mhm.
And I think another thing is also appreciating the context that you're
Mhm.
in, and responding to features of the site,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? So how has that been done with models before?
So like we usually like first like we coming like you said like we coming with this kind of function. Okay, like probably like okay, we want to do like yoga space.
Mhm.
Okay, so we need to like some cozy and like close space. So how gonna like doing it that in your model? So you probably like you need to lower your walls and like your ceiling and like probably like make your roof as a wall too, right?
Mhm.
So it's really like close enough. Yeah, it's I mean like the model like really give you this kind of information. Okay, I let's say I want to like open air,
Mhm.
so I need to raise my roof and like how to like catch the cool air. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I guess that makes sense for like
Mhm.
open spaces that you will want to bring in like things like fresh air, but also
Exactly.
views and stuff I know
Mhm.
is important. If there's a particular view around you, then that's a great thing to have as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. And so after this concept stage and understanding that, what's next?
So after that, you're gonna like do like some design development.
Mhm.
So from that concept, probably like you not really like didn't know like what kind of structural system that I can input there.
Mhm.
So let's say this kind of model like Kubo here.
Mhm.
Okay, we want to like have because like this one in the rice field,
Mhm.
probably like it's good to have like some
Mhm.
leaf shape roof, right? So after that, and like you will find first when we do this model for the sample, we do the roof first, and then after that, okay, what kind of typical of structure we can input there? Probably grid shell, probably like hyperbolic parabolate, or even like post and beam or tower. And then we found that okay, post and beam is good for it.
Yeah.
So that's why like from there, like you will like the design development process, you're gonna be okay, this kind of structure, and then after that, from your concept model, you're starting to put that kind of structural system that can be functional for your concept model. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And if you need a refresher on structural models and structural systems, sorry, you can go into our Bamboo archive in our YouTube, and there's so many different things about
Mhm.
structural systems. We've done a couple lives already just in the last few months about
Mhm.
them. So if you're interested, you can go and check that out after this video. And yeah, I guess models really then, once you start working with structural systems, you really start to understand 3D space as well. So, how many? I know there's a couple people here as well. So Michael was here
Wow,
earlier. Tony
USA.
from South Carolina, lots of different things: jeweler,
Wow.
sculptor, architect,
Wow.
architect wannabe.
Amazing.
Luis is here. Luis was actually in the live last week. Hi, Luis.
Hi, Luis.
And we also have Umakant, who does exporting bamboo. That's pretty cool
Wow,
as
that's
well.
very cool.
Yeah, that's
Wow. You
interesting.
export from where to where?
Yeah, it would be really interesting to know where you export
Yeah.
from, and then like the different species as well.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
we work with a couple species here in Indonesia, but it's always really interesting to see what species other people
Mhm.
work with around the world, and whether that's used for construction
Yeah.
or for furniture, whatever it is, like products.
Mhm.
It's really cool to see. So thank you for
Wow.
joining.
Thank you for joining.
But yeah, if anyone in the chat has like, ever made a model before, let us know how that went for you. Have you wanted to make a model before?
Mhm.
Like, have you tried? I know the first, I remember from architecture school, but like making a model is not always as easy as it looks.
Exactly. It's
It takes time.
frustrating.
Yes.
It's frustrating. Even like when we do in our course,
Mhm.
because it's only like we doing it like not in one day. It's only like
It's about, yeah.
6 hours.
Yeah.
6 hours with the lunchtime and break and everything. Like people feel okay. I need more time. I need more time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean like sometimes you need to just like feel it the process. So
Go with the
then
flow.
yeah, exactly. Like my when I call it like my dean say like enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't make you frustrated.
That's true. Yeah, because as you get more frustrated, then it then your model
Mhm.
becomes messier,
Messier,
and
exactly.
then you just get even more frustrated, and it's
Mhm.
just a vicious cycle. And
Yeah.
so, okay, there's a couple here. Jel says hello from Brazil.
Ooh,
Hello.
Brazil, welcome.
Michael says definitely want to make a model, but never had before. How
Hmm.
precise does the model have to be? So that actually really depends.
Yeah, it depends. Usually, like here, like in Bali, we like how precise. It's I can say like 80% precise because probably like when you are already like on the site, you will
Mhm.
get probably like some okay, probably like if you use one beam of bamboo, it's not gonna work. But I mean, like by making the model itself, yeah, it really give you like the visual, right? Like okay, this gonna building is gonna be like this, but like you will like do some changing on site, but it's part of the design development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess like the first couple of models that you make, like the concept or the
Mm-hmm.
schematic models,
Yeah.
those are more playful and those are more
Exactly.
fun. They don't have to be super accurate because
Mm-hmm.
you're just trying to see what the model can do.
Yeah.
You're trying to see how does this material work? Like,
Mm-hmm.
does it bend in a way that I might want to work with,
Yeah.
or explore? It's just more exploratory. And
Mm-hmm.
then I guess, like Mike said, for design development, then there is a certain level of accuracy that you do need.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's about 80% because bamboo doesn't always do what you
Yeah.
want it to.
Exactly.
And you might really want a very straight sort of
Mm-hmm.
component in the model, but you might have curvy
Exactly.
poles. So it can be tricky.
Yeah.
And then now I think let's dive into the 5 reasons why we really
Mm-hmm.
think that model making is important. But if you have questions, like Michael did, you can go ahead and add them in the chat. We're really happy to answer them.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you all for being here. Alrighty. So we've come up with 5 reasons why we think model making is really important to bamboo design. There are other reasons, of course, but these were our top 5.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is visualizing our
Yeah.
ideas, right? So how is the model making process really useful for visualizing our ideas?
So like we said before, when you do the concept, right? Like
Mhm.
okay, I want to like this kind of shape, that kind of shape, and after that you will like see like how the bamboo will behave, and then after you are ready, like probably like finish your model, like you can always like probably like we do like scale people, but right now we don't have it here,
Yeah.
or probably like even like Ibuku right now, I see like they make a big model and make a holes at
Yes.
the bottom, so they can put your head there,
Inside.
and like you can see like from that perspectives how's gonna be like looks like. So I mean again, like it's like visualizing your, let's say like I said before, like when you probably like the function is yoga.
Mhm.
Okay, when you are doing yoga, is it gonna be like good enough, or like some
Is there enough
visual, yeah,
space?
exactly, so it's gonna be like help you to have your inner peace, or
Mhm.
it's even like it's gonna disturbing you. So
Yeah,
like
true.
yeah, by like making model, like, it's really like visualizing, okay, this is gonna looks like that, and like is it gonna be functional for me, or like yeah, it's help you like really like visualize like your idea.
And I guess it also helps with not just understanding the function and the emotions, like Mike said, right? So, like, is it going to be comfortable for someone? Is it going to be disturbing them? Things like that. But I guess it's also good for understanding the human scale and
Mm-hmm.
how that also impacts how your design is perceived, right? So, if you, for example, one of the things that is really common in architecture, kind of architecture masters, I guess, is that they make you go into a small space,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cramped, and then they open up into a big space. So
Yeah.
you really feel that, like, oh wow, like it's
Yeah,
such a big space. Like
exactly.
psychologically, it also really impacts you. The spaces that you're in
Mhm.
really impact how you feel
Yeah.
and how you experience things and so on. So I think that's really interesting,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then the second reason why we think model making is super important is because it's really great for representing our ideas in 3 dimensions.
Mhm. Yeah. So like probably like even like here in Bali, like some of our carpenters like they really like didn't know how to read like two-dimension drawing. Probably like, you already put the details, but by making your model, like you really like can representing for them, so they can see it, oh, this gonna building this looks like. Okay, so like they will really like okay, so they can even like give you number of like timeline, or probably like, okay, this is gonna cost like this, and like it's gonna be like that. So
Yeah.
really, really like, yeah, by making your model is really like represent how it's be in the real scale. And yeah, I mean like it's really, really super helpful for our carpenter, especially in Bali, to like have model. That's why usually like we have like more than one model, because like one model will be stay on site,
Yeah.
that probably broken
Oh
when your
no.
building is there, because yeah, our carpenter will save their tools and machine.
Yeah.
But when it's raining, your model is still
Oh
outside.
no.
So that's why we, even like Bali, in Bali, we do like multiple of model.
Oh gosh. Oh my god. And also, I mean, like you were mentioning, right? Like two-dimensional drawings for architects, okay, we've learned how to sort of read them and
Mhm.
understand them, and they can be very detailed. But for people who might not necessarily have an architectural background, because you'll be working with builders, you'll be working with people who are installing certain
Mm.
components, things like that. And they might not always have a very good architectural background. And that's
Exactly.
okay because they have their own certain skills, right?
Mhm.
So they will find working with a model much
Mhm.
easier. And it's also pretty accurate at showing how particular things
Yeah.
like curves work, for example, or
Mhm.
like Mike said, like you'll be able to help with costing. And that's actually one of our other reasons that it's so important. But how does this, I know that physical modeling is a big thing, but we also have people that ask about digital modeling. How is that accurate or not as accurate? How does that
Mhm.
work compared to physical models?
So like probably like there is a sample before when we built our big dome
Okay,
in
yeah,
Kultu Farm.
yeah.
So we already make the model, and after that we already give the two-dimension drawing with all the measurement.
Hmm.
And like after that, probably because like we said before, like not all people like, and not all carpenter want to like enjoying like seeing the paper rather
Yeah.
like this. So by the end, like what we having like, they following the model.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
and like because like that's really like
Hmm.
small model, and probably like, because like if you lose like just like few centi, probably affect like few meters in the real
Oh, yeah,
scale,
yeah,
right?
that's
So,
true.
and like they didn't see that drawing, and like, by the end we losing like 30 centi every poles.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's why like really like you need to like thinking if you make the model, if it's fine if like making bigger, like more details too. Yeah. But like yeah, it's really like help the carpenters to like see like how it's gonna represent and like in the model, and like how to see it in the real scale. Yeah.
And I guess also with that, like plans and sections and things like that, all can be done digitally, right?
Mhm.
Alongside things like digital modeling in Rhino and SketchUp,
Yeah.
right? And so that's a lot faster than sitting
Mhm.
down and making a model
Exactly.
and gluing things and measuring everything by
Mm.
hand. All that takes time.
Yeah.
But I think also, how does do digital are digital models very accurate in representing how bamboo works? Or
I really like didn't have really like a good answer with, but by making the model, like you really like using the same materials,
Mhm.
right? That you will found like, even like here, this small bamboo stick you see is not straight.
Mhm.
That's bamboo in the real scale, right?
Yeah.
But in like in the Rhino or SketchUp, the line straight. You cannot
It's
like
perfect.
following like this bamboo curve like that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, by this like really like making the model, yeah, probably like the 3D modeling is help you to like do some presentation,
Mhm.
right? But like imagine if you already like inside the forest, because usually like our client like find like new place in the middle of the jungle, and then no electricity,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
no
True.
internet. It's
Mhm.
like you need to bring your laptop there, and probably it's only like 4 or like maximum 4 hours
Yeah.
working, right? And
Yeah.
like, but the carpenter need to work 8 hours and like seeing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean like how accurate is gonna be, like it's, I mean like it's depends again. If you have like really straight bamboo, it's really, really accurate. But by making the model to like, you will see the different like how even you making in the model. But I mean like by making it in the 3D modeling, it's really, really good for you if you want to change something, right?
Mhm.
Just like delete it and adding it.
Yeah.
But like in the models, Imagine I need to like change this pose,
Oh my
or
god.
like I need to raising it. But in the model, it's like okay, drag up, and then
Yeah.
you need to like yeah. Well, it's plus minus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it has, I guess, yeah, it has its benefits and its challenges as
yeah.
well, right? So because digital modeling is faster,
Mhm.
that's good for, I guess, tweaks, right? So
Yeah.
like how does it work if I raise it, like Mike
Mhm.
said? If I want to, add something, change something, tweak something, that's really great.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like Mike said, it's not really that accurate in explaining how the material behaves,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So that leads us to reason number three. So, how is bamboo models, physical models in particular, are really good for testing and developing ideas? That's what
Mhm.
we've found here. Because you're using bamboo for the model at this scale, right? But you're also using it for the final building. And that's really useful for understanding the behavior of this natural material and how you can test certain ideas that you have, test if your building works structurally as
Mhm.
well. I think that's a big one. And so no, it's not just necessarily about the design and the aesthetics, it's also about how the building will work, right?
Yeah.
And if it's going to function the way it's supposed to, and if it stands up, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a big
Exactly.
one. You
Yeah.
don't want to
So
let it
like
fall down.
before we have like bamboo engineer.
Mhm.
So imagine in like in 2000, probably like they starting in 2008. Yeah,
2007, yeah.
2007, and
Yeah.
like before like we really didn't have engineer that time, and like like the bamboo joinery itself is not that strong. That's why if you see here in the model, probably like you will see like we using hot glue there.
Hmm.
So using hot glue that's really like flexible, because the bamboo itself is the joinery is not that kind of strong, but this kind of glue like give us like really like so helpful. So before like we testing it, we shaking the model like that. So by like shaking it like that, it will give you okay, it's still moving.
Hmm.
So where the place that I need to add more support? Okay, probably like this kind of two column need to have more support there. So
True,
after
true.
that, yeah, and after that I adding bamboo there. Adding bamboo there, so it's gonna be not moving, and like in this direction too. So if you see like this kind of triangulation, not only just like to supporting the roof or just like extend the roof, it working as triangulation to this building. So imagine if I don't have that, this probably like shaking so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The building, like itself, like even within the model, the part that it's actually kind of wobbly in right now because it's an older model
Yeah.
is because, it's this connection here into the base of the model, which
Mhm.
is a bit wobbly.
Yeah.
But the actual whole building itself, like this model itself, is pretty sturdy. Like it
Yeah.
all moves
It's.
together as one element.
Mhm.
And so we can see that it's, really quite strong and sturdy. Even just pressing down on it
Mhm.
when you make a bamboo model
Yeah.
is something we really recommend
Yeah.
because it's quite tough.
Yeah, exactly. Even like probably like here,
It's really
okay,
good.
it's okay. Probably like it's really like wobbling. You can like adding probably like one more roof beam there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this like yeah, it's really like give you. So imagine if you have, but like right now for this building, we're not like using like some heavy materials for it.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's like really like give you, because we using the same material when we making the building.
I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, it's the same, exactly the same,
Mhm.
right? So it's great for testing and experimenting with that.
Yeah.
And alongside that, we find, like Mike mentioned earlier, it's a great physical blueprint. So you can, if you're not very good at understanding architectural plans, that's totally okay, right?
Mhm.
Like when you bring it to site, the
Yeah.
carpenters will definitely find this a
Exactly.
lot easier. So that's reason number four, the digital, like a physical
Yeah.
blueprint of something.
Yeah. By like bring it to the carpenter can really like give you okay. I can work on this like 1 month, and like okay, I need to put this one. So you can like, because sometimes like probably like you cannot like bring all the bamboo right on site.
Yeah,
So you
for
need to
sure.
just like few things. So just like okay, I gonna put like this column first, that column first, and this support and roof beam first. Yeah, and everything. So after that, let yeah, it will really like give you like feel like the carpenter will give you the timeline, and
Mhm.
after that it's easy for you to like, okay, I need to make costing. So by making the costing to like, okay, this kind of pole, how many meters and how many poles that I need there, yeah, that kind of thing that really help for the carpenters to understand. It's like, okay, because like imagine you only like see it in 3D, but then it's like, which this is like angle with that support with what, but by give them the model, they will really understand, okay, so I need to like put the column first, this kind of template first at the back, and after that this kind of reach, okay, 1 month done.
And so that brings us to point number 5. The
Yeah,
fifth reason why bamboo model making is so useful is because it really helps with costing and also understanding your timelines,
yeah, exactly.
right? So it's not just, okay, it's great to collaborate with, it's easy to understand, it helps us understand how the building will work. Those are all really important, but costing is a big part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Mike, for this live, was actually doing costing right now. So, thank you, Mike, for
Yeah.
being here. And so, how has using these models in particular helped you understand? Like, how do you get that information about costing directly from a model?
Yeah. So like before like there is question that like how precise.
Mhm.
So that's why when we are ready in like in design development, we already like fix our model and like put scale on it.
Mhm.
And then after that it's easy because like even like in PT Bambu Pure they have their own department like costing department and that department, but like not all people can let's say you have like 3D drawing, not all people can have that software,
Mhm.
and like not all people that have laptop or computer that can open
Yeah,
your
true.
heavy 3D drawing. So by just like making your model, it's easy for them to measuring it from there. Let's say this column. Okay, this is scale 1 to 25. Okay, and this is probably how many centi, and probably like that's 4 meter in the real scale.
Mhm.
So they give number, okay, and like there's four of it, and like okay, it's four. And imagine too if you only like have one screen and you have 3D and the Excel, right? It's
Yeah,
like you back forth. So rather that having like that is easy for you. And usually when we do the costing, we labeling it,
yeah.
so we not like miss anything. But
Mhm.
probably like in the if you using your 3D model, probably like you're gonna miss one
One bamboo
one
pole is
bamboo component
missing.
exactly. But I mean, like by using 3D modeling tool, like you will, it's easy for you to counting it.
Mhm.
But probably like you're gonna miss one element.
Mhm.
But by making our model, usually before we do the costing, we labeling it one by one.
Mhm.
So we naming it, okay, column 4 meters, and there is like support how many meters, there is like a roof beam here,
Yeah.
how many meters, and what kind of material we're gonna use. It's really help you. And after that, it's just like okay, okay, how many meters? Don't need to like open it, like measuring it again. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean like again plus minus.
And
Yeah,
so I guess each bamboo pole here also represents one bamboo pole in
yeah,
reality, right?
exactly.
So, for example, this particular part of the roof here, these
Mhm.
rafters are a particular species, which, for example, all these are one particular species.
Yeah.
And then I guess this would be because these are more structural
Mhm.
elements that are a bit thicker, then we'd use another species of bamboo for that. So I guess, yeah, that's pretty helpful in understanding
Yeah.
what species and even labeling it. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, it's normal for humans to make mistakes
Mhm.
and, maybe forget a component. And so, yeah, I guess, yeah, this seems a pretty helpful way to just
Yeah.
keep track as well, just physically, of what you need.
Mhm.
And you were also mentioning that the carpenters, just by looking at the model, can tell you how much time it'll take, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because they already this kind of sense like building the bamboo structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even like the really like extreme one, like we're gonna show you like the our dapur naga,
Mm-hmm.
our kitchen before, and like it's really like probably like in when you make it in like 3D modeling, like okay, you find the step because you already have the number,
Mm-hmm.
but when you give the physical model to the carpenter, they will like see. Even like probably like in 3D modeling, I can put like this switch first,
Mm-hmm.
but like in the real scale, you need to like put scaffolding there, and
Yeah.
when you put the another structure, it's gonna hit by another
Yeah.
structure. So by just like giving them, okay, this is I want to build this, they will just like seeing it like 1 hour, like trying to see the room, okay, and it's like they will give you like just like probably like going home and like
A
write it
plan.
down,
Yeah.
yeah, plan, okay, I can do it like 1 month. Yeah, it's really like helpful for the carpenter to like visualize in the real scale and like how many times or yeah what the cost that they need to building your bamboo house. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we have a couple more people joining us. Akash says hello from India in
Oh,
Maharashtra.
India.
Yeah, we have lots of people joining us from India. That's really
Mhm.
great as well. And we have Architecture for Thought joining us from Chicago. That's really
Wow.
nice as well. And Michael is asking, do you make models for bamboo furniture as well?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, like Inara said, like when we like trying to develop one of the furniture, but usually if it's only like square that we
Mm-hmm.
already have material that we calling plank, usually we only like need 3D. But if we want to like usually like have like round poles,
Mm-hmm.
usually yes, we make a model because yeah, it's really like help you like okay, I can using bambu petung or like this kind of bamboo to doing it. Yeah, usually like we doing it too, even like in our course
Mm-hmm.
before, like in last 5 days in person course
Yeah.
before like they're like starting to build the real scale, they're making like their model first in small scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not just the really small scale things that we
Mhm.
do as well, like the tiny little models before we do something. We also do models at different scales, whether it's for a building, whether it's for furniture. For furniture, we might do a tiny model that's like just about this big,
Mhm.
but then we might do a prototype, which is a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And then we might do a one to one prototype as well
Mhm.
to see how that works with the material.
Yeah.
For a building, we might not do a full mock up, which is a one to one kind of trial of how the building works unless it's something that we've never done before.
Yeah.
Like I think they did that for a couple things with
Mhm.
the ARC, the gymnasium at the Green School.
Yeah.
They did one-to-one trials, for
Yeah.
example. And that's really cool.
Yeah, that's really like helpful to give you a number, probably like something that you really concern in your model that probably not work. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a lot, like depending on the scale that you'll work with for your
Mm-hmm.
model or
Yeah.
for your prototype, that will tell you different things. So you may need to try a couple different things if you've
Mm-hmm.
never done something like this before. Like we hadn't done like arches on that scale with the
Mm-hmm.
arc before, so that's why we had to try it out at a very big scale. Doing it in the models was one thing and it was helpful, but for something like that we really needed to test it
Yeah.
much larger. For something like this though that we've done a couple times already, and we know that the model is a very good way of representing how the bamboo will behave, because we're not really doing some crazy curves
Mm-hmm.
with it. We're a lot of these members are very straight, like as
Yeah.
you can see in the front here. They're all pretty straight members, and yes, bamboo is not exactly straight, but
Mm-hmm.
it's relatively straight depending on the species. The
Yeah.
one that we use here for structural members, which Mike calls, he called it bamboo tung, that's the
Yeah.
local name. It's also known as Dendrocalamus asper. That one's relatively straight. It's not as straight as guadua. That one, guadua angustifolia, is usually very, very straight and a lot more rigid. Um, asper is slightly more bendy and wavy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it can really show us a bunch of different things depending on the scale that we
Yeah.
work at. And then we have a couple more people joining us. So Hashan says hi
Oh,
from Sri
Sri
Lanka.
Lanka,
Ricardo says hello from Mexico.
Mexico.
Ryan says hi from Colorado. The
Wow.
Good Citizen says hi from India. I want to send some artisans for training. They are all Hindi speaking. Will that work? That's actually a really good
Mm-hmm.
question. We had a group join us from Shillong in
Sri
India,
Lanka.
and they work for Shillong Bamboo. And so we actually did a really intensive course with
Yeah.
them. They did have a translator. So, I mean, we can be in touch. So
Mm-hmm.
just send us an email at info@bambooyou.com and we'll be in touch. I've
Mm-hmm.
sent the email in the chat for you. So
Mm.
we can, discuss how we can go about that. But that would be really cool to
Yeah.
see. And then Architecture for Thought is asking, On the scale models, do you represent the different types of connections? Is that important to factor into the scale model design, or is that more of a field testing thing?
Yeah, we're not really like because yeah, if you see like there is like bamboo, probably like for example here there is like bamboo meat like that. Usually like we have this kind of fish mouth,
Yeah.
but like in this model we only like just like gluing it like that.
Yeah, with hot
And
glue.
yeah, with the hot glue and just like yeah, just like to seeing it, is it gonna work? Because like it will be like more or like same like movement like that. That's why yeah, we doing it, we glue it not like using super glue but using the hot glue and like see if it's gonna be like strong
Sturdy,
enough
yeah.
or no, or we need to clamping it like that, or one is enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess for things that again we'd never tried before, like connections that are very specialized, we might try just that connection at a different scale. So a couple courses ago, I think it was it last year or the year before, we did like a truss and we looked at
Yeah.
different connections and how that works and things like that. We didn't do a full scale truss, but we did sort of connections and like I think it was half the scale of
Yeah.
what it would actually be the first time. And so we saw, okay, how is this going to work? How are those connections going to be made? And then actually working on it at a bigger scale before we go into like just building right away. So it kind of depends. Connections are a bit tricky with bamboo because bamboo has a relatively low shear strength compared to its other types of strength, like tensile strength and compressive strength. It's pretty strong. But shear is one where it tends to split apart. So it's essentially if this is your bamboo and it's like something sliding across it, that's how a lot of the connections are made because of the nature of the material. And so it tends to have a relatively low shear strength because of the direction of the fibers. And so testing connections is something we can't do as much on these small models. It's a larger kind of concept.
Yeah, so like for like I said, like we have like two typical like joinery. So we have like this join like this, and we
The
have
clamp,
like the
yeah.
fish mount one. So yeah, it's like in the model we just like gluing it like that, but it like give you like if it's like strong enough, just like put it like that, or we need to like do clamping like that. But usually we if we only like for the roof support we put it like that, gonna be like fish mouth. But for the floor beam we do clamping it like that by using two bamboo to go meet
Side by
with
side.
another. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we might
Yeah,
be able to
here.
see it here at the bottom at the floor. There are two bamboos that are wrapped, basically sandwiching
Yeah.
the piece here. Not sure if you can
Yeah,
see.
so if you see like this is the different, so there is like two, and that's really like different that we using the beam for the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All right. The good citizen is asking, how do you test the strength of bamboos in the model?
How to
How do you test the strength of these bamboos?
Yeah.
We don't necessarily do it as much in the model. Like we do test kind of the overall structure just by pressing down and seeing, okay, where do we need to add more support? But testing the bamboo is typically done at a bigger scale with the real size bamboo that we're going to use. So, like how we test the connections at a 1-to-1 scale, we might do testing of like when it comes to grading bamboos and choosing the bamboo material that we want to work with, our bamboo actually undergoes a lot of testing. Like, will this particular species at a particular size be strong enough for our building? And that for that we use a lot of engineers. We work with engineers because that tends to be a lot easier. They have a lot more expertise in that area. But we have done our on-site testing as well by ourselves, with just understanding connections, understanding how much pressure is going to be put onto a particular pole or particular structure, just like a mock-up of the structure, and then putting that much load on it and seeing how that works.
Yeah. So like in the model, really like you cannot like really like testing the strength of the bamboo. Before like I have this kind of experience when we built the office for our company before. Like I have this kind of span of the floor span is 6 meters, 6 meters. Like and I just like using one of like the clamp bamboo like that to go the other side to the 6 meters gap. And when we start working, it's shaking so much.
Oh no.
It's shaking. So whatever, like I do my sketch and people like going to the toilet, so I just stop, waiting for them to just like go down, and then I can start
Continue
sketching
the
again.
sketch.
Yeah. So I mean, like usually, like when we make the model, like in our set before, probably like we have like this big span.
Mhm.
For the sample, the arc of in the green school,
Mhm.
it's like we test it in one-on-one scale first, the bamboo, before we doing it. Like I said before, like our office before that have like 6 meter gap. What happens? Like I double the beam.
Oh, okay.
That's really really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Not as
yeah,
wobbly.
exactly. So usually like you have that kind of side what we call it uh,
Which the
side decision, right?
yeah,
So
on-site
like
decision.
on-site
Yeah, yeah.
decision. So usually we have something like that. Probably like information that you don't know, you didn't have here in the model. But sometimes when you already like give to the carpenter, usually carpenter will give you this information too, because they are really like really really work like long time ago with the bamboo. They will give you if some of your structural is not gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, so let's go through some of the models that we have here today and kind of look at how these helped in the design process. So this is the Kubu. We actually looked at this last week. So if you haven't seen the Kubu before, you can go check last week's live as well a little bit later. But this was a project done by Bamboo U
Mhm.
students, and it was in the rice fields,
The
right?
rice field, yeah.
So how did the model actually help with kind of orienting the project and actually like setting it up?
Yeah, so like this building before, like Green School, just like want to like do some activity with the rice field that in the neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
and like they want to like this becoming the place where the farmers like probably like take a rest, and then like they want to like this roof pointing and like see the Mount Agung, because in that rice field you can use Mount, you can see the Mount Agung if it's like in the clear sky. That's why by this like we making the model first and like see it's like how we're gonna be like this model gonna pointing, and like that give you this sense like where you're gonna put the column and like where to put the entrance. It's like
Mm-hmm.
how many gap that you gonna need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really like help you to just like okay, just like get the orientation and you playing with it. Let's say it's not like touching there and just like play with it. Okay, it's gonna be like that, like this. So yeah, it's really like help you to see when you bring it on site. You okay, it's gonna be like this high. It's gonna be like okay, it's gonna hit by this tree.
Oh
Like we need
man.
to changing it because we not cut the tree.
Yeah. And what about like adding additional supports? Like how was the model helpful in doing that?
Yeah, like I said before, uh, here like because like we using laminate here and like we have like another laminate there, we're thinking that it's probably like it's strong enough.
Mm-hmm.
But what we found when we started putting the roof, that's why we need this one, because like it's really really like long there. So like I said before we have engineering, we shaking
Just
it
yeah,
like that,
wobble the
yeah,
model.
wobbly model, and then after that we need to adding triangulation there, adding triangulation here, yeah, because like if you see here we have like oh sorry, I will put it, so we have like this triangulation here, but we need to have triangulation that go to that way too,
Outwards. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's
So
these ones,
yeah,
right?
so if you see the like the logic, so imagine if you adding triangulation and you have triangulation like this again, it's not working
Mm-hmm.
because like it's what you call it,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
just
same
yeah,
line.
going in the same
So you
direction.
need to
Yeah.
counter that to make triangulation again, but rather than having it like that, because we're gonna like adding like support there too, it's better to having it from there, it's like make it more stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. All right. And
Yeah.
then the next model we have is this kitchenette model. Here.
Yeah.
So how was
Wow.
this model helpful at kind of testing out your
Mhm.
ideas?
So like probably like if you know about like the post and beam,
Mhm.
usually we only like making like square, like
A bit like the
some
kubu, right?
exactly like
Yeah,
the kubu
just straight.
people say like probably like it's so stiff.
Yeah.
But from here, from that, like we trying to how to make post and beam more like dramatic, not like so stiff. So that's why this idea coming. So if you see, it's like it's curved
Ah, yeah.
like that. So it's
Okay.
like from straight poles, and like by adding it like on the radial composition like that,
Hmm.
it's really like, imagine if you probably like adding more, and at the end you make like
That would be
donut
cool.
house,
We
and
can make
like
a
you have
donut
like
building.
some pond in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then yeah, that's we trying to, if you see from Kubu before, like the template of the post and beam almost the same,
Ah,
right?
yeah, true.
The template almost the same. So we coming with this idea, let's making post and beam like more curvy.
That's
So
pretty
yeah,
cool.
it's really like give you helpful. Okay, because like that's why probably like you see here we have like small gap, because when we open like that, we see like here, okay, we cannot like adding this is the maximum gap that this bamboo can hold,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So that's this gap like following this gap. So this gap is like following this maximum gap that we can do. Yeah. So yeah, it's really like helpful to see. Okay, we can make like some curvy things from post
Yeah.
and beam, not only like square. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, and then the next up we have this prayer space over here and the Dapur Naga building as well. So Dapur Naga is on your side. Great.
Wow.
All righty. Big building. One of our favorites. All right. And so I guess you had mentioned to me that this little prayer area at Green Camp was actually kind of a precursor to Dapur Naga, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because of this testing out this undulations in the grid shell.
Mhm.
So how did that really work? Like how did the testing for that work in the model?
So like in just like in this small, so this is just like the small scale that we made before. It really like give us like how the bamboo want to behave. So if you see like in the real scale, for this one we're using bamboo split, and this one we're using bamboo lidi, that
Mhm.
this kind of small. And like what we found, like bamboo really didn't want to curve in different direction. If like it has a skin or it's like becoming a split, it's really like didn't want to like make the curve that
Multiple.
you want exactly. That's why we testing with this one first,
Uh-huh.
and like with this like scale, I forget like the size and the real scale for this one. It's really like frustrating to give to put the bamboo one by one, because imagine, so like probably like this one is good, but imagine to put like this small from here, have curve here, and then have another curve there, and have another curve again. So that's kind of like little bit like frustrating, even just like in this small scale. Imagine if you make it more bigger. So like this kind of building here, it's like 11 meters high. So from that idea, because we want to trying to make like some this Mount Agung shape, and
Mhm.
then we coming with this idea. So we want to like have there is some space that going up and some going down. So if you see here, this is our entrance here, and that what we found, like before, if you see in this model, we didn't have something in the middle,
Yeah.
but in this model we have a reciprocal tower in the
Yeah,
middle.
you can
Yeah.
kind of see it.
Yeah,
It's covered by the
but rather that
vegetation.
having it like that, we open it like that. So probably like you cannot see it through like from the top. So if you see like this kind of bamboo inside, that's the bamboo reciprocal tower
Mhm.
here. Yeah, that we're using to support the center ring here, and then that's becoming where we can put our rafters going down. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but like do like some iteration like that, really like that's the design development, right? So
Yeah.
you do the iteration, and like okay, and it will give you more ideas how to doing that, how to doing this.
And how it works on site as well, right? Like
Mhm.
because this site has like multiple layers, it's like more stepped. This one was just kind of working with it flat. So
Mhm.
that jump was also probably a bit different, and working with the model must have helped as well.
Yeah, it's really helpful because before I thought when we start building this one, after we do the tower, we put the ring,
Mhm.
we put like this lily bundle here, and then
Mhm.
we put that, but it's not working.
Oh, okay.
So what we found when we bring it on site, the carpenter say, if you put this one, if it's not really in the right height,
Uh-huh.
imagine that your bamboo probably like that.
Oh no, it'll
Yeah,
curve, right?
exactly
Yeah,
right.
it'll warp.
So what we do first, like we do this ring, and then we put this lidi bundle and put straight lines,
Hmm.
and that's give you number okay. Because like sometimes probably like not everyone's perfect, right? And like
Hmm.
probably like this is different height,
Ah,
right?
okay, okay.
Imagine if you ended like half rafter like that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so that's why
that's tricky.
when
Yeah.
so we put this one and put the straight line, and then that's give us number where to put this member. So we put like
Ah,
one in the highest point and one in the lowest point, and that give you sense to
of how
following.
to
Yeah,
create the
to create
support on the inside.
exactly.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's why like we give the carpenter give us information to it's like, oh, you cannot like do probably okay we following this high, but on site probably it's different.
Hmm.
So it's better to just like doing their way. So they doing like that ring and this one and having that line, and that's we found like we put scaffolding to hold for a moment and then put support there. Yeah, it's really the next experience we'll be building this one.
And speaking of Dapurnaga, this bamboo building has been featured as what it's been nominated as one of ArcDaily's Building of the Year awards. And
Wow.
so if you go into the description box of this video, you can actually go and vote for this building. And we'd really, really appreciate
Yeah.
you voting for us. So yeah, thank you guys for
Yeah.
that. Um, you can always go back into the description and vote through that
Mm.
directly. And we had a question from Rissa. How do you make the foundations? I'm still wondering how a giant building foundation structure works. I'm just sending you a link from our Bamboo U kind of research vault. It's essentially a guide on how to make foundations for a building. So in a
Yeah.
model, we don't always show the
Yeah.
foundations exactly how they are, because a bit like the connections, it's a bit tricky to do on this scale. But this guide on our website will show you how we go about making foundations.
Yeah, in the real scale, like our bamboo stick just like go through to whatever base that do you use.
Mhm.
Yeah, just like to make it like stay like that.
Cool. And finally, Mike, I have a
Mhm.
question for you.
What?
What advice would you give to someone who is just starting out making models?
So first, like probably like finding if you can like find like really like same material. So find like the bamboo stick first. Usually we have like satay
Mm-hmm.
to make satay, and like some sushi rolls
Mm-hmm.
that you can use. Like just like make sure it's made from bamboo, and
Yeah.
from there you can just like starting making the concept model. Just
Cool.
like trying, don't frustrate it. Just like trying and like see we have in our website just like see the different of the
The structural
structural, yeah, and
systems,
like
yeah.
last 2 weeks ago
2 weeks
like
ago,
I
yeah.
make this like some simple that you can start from there, just like doing something like that, and after that you can like learn how this bamboo want to behave, because like it's really like different material.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And I mean, bamboo skewers are pretty easy to
Hmm.
find in lots of different grocery stores around the world. So they've been used for things like cooking and for barbecuing, things like that. So even if you can't find like bamboo model making sticks online or in your area, that's totally okay. Bamboo skewers are a really great place to start.
Yeah.
Some people have even made their own bamboo sticks.
Hmm.
I think we have a tutorial on our YouTube showing how that works as well. But you take the bamboo pole
Hmm.
and you can just start to cut those little thin pieces and
Hmm.
like basically like use a knife to like make them smaller.
Exactly.
You can do that too. There's lots of different ways you can go about it.
Yeah, so when you want to like start your bamboo model, yeah, find the material first and like trying just like simple design. Don't be like so
Yeah,
complicated first.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Akash was asking, how do you make curves with model making? How does that work? Well, there's two different ways you can go about it. If you're using, like, if you want to do kind of like a grid shell, something similar to this, then you might want to use bamboo splits,
Hmm.
right? Because I think that's a lot easier
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
bend, right? And so that's one way you can do it. If you only have access to these
Bamboo stick.
bamboo
Yeah.
sticks, like the straight ones, then what you might want to do is you might want to soak it in water and then like for a little bit, not so
Hmm.
long, and then you'll be able to bend it
Yeah.
into shape.
Yeah. So like yeah, like I said, like by using the same material, you will see the limit of the bamboo want to curve.
For
Even
sure.
like because like usually like okay, I kind of like this kind of diameter. Usually like we do like some massage too, like here, like this. Yeah. But at the end, probably sometimes broke, but it gives you like really, really like the number like what the
Pretty,
maximum the
yeah.
bamboo that want to do because
Yeah,
like
see,
yeah I
that
mean like
broke.
in the real scale we using lidi bundle probably like you can find in our website too the
Yeah.
lidi bundle that can go whatever that curve that they want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and lady bundles are basically small, thin rods of bamboo, maybe like 1 centimeter in diameter or
Mhm.
so, even depending on the size of your structure. You may need different sizes of lidis.
Mhm.
Lidi just basically means stick.
Yeah.
And it's just a bundle of these sticks all together and using that to make different curves.
Yeah.
So that's how that works.
Yeah.
And you can also use splits. We talked a
Mhm.
little bit about split beams in a live that we did a couple months ago. I think it was about 2 months ago,
Mhm.
where we looked at different split beams that we're experimenting with as well. So go check that out. But I think that's about it for today.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, everybody that joined us. Thank you for being here. We
Yeah.
really appreciate it. Thank you, Mike,
Thank
for
you,
taking
Inara.
time out of your schedule to be here as well and teaching us about bamboo model making.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.